Hey there, Lead the Team Nation. Welcome back to another great episode. Today I have for you Vaibhav Srivastava, who is the president over at Innova Solutions. He's an accomplished leader with 2 decades of experience working in the IT services industry and currently heading a diverse portfolio that includes healthcare, insurance, life sciences, and government sector strategic business units with over 275 clients. Again, all over at Innova Solutions. He was actually awarded the Executive of the Year 2023 award at the 11th Annual 2023 Globee Awards for his exceptional leadership and management skills. He was also a winner of the prestigious Indian Achievers Award in 2023 for his outstanding professional achievements and contribution towards national building. Founded all the way back in 1998, which happens to be the year that I graduated from college, and headquartered in Atlanta, Georgia, out in the Duluth area. Innova Solutions, along with its subsidiaries, employs over 50,000 professionals worldwide and reports an annual revenue approaching $3 billion with a B. Vaibav, welcome to Lead the Team, sir.
Thank you, Ben. My pleasure to be here.
So let's dive into this. There's a lot in your background that you want to unpack here, but let's start with one of the biggies here. What's the big transformation that you've been leading that certainly generated a lot of waves, including getting that great Executive of the Year award?
Absolutely. I have been privileged to be part of this journey for Innova Solutions. Innova Solutions, as you know, it's a $3 billion, 50,000 people organization. Yeah. However, over the last 4 years, we have been onto a transformation journey of verticalizing our organization.
What does verticalizing mean?
Absolutely. So the platform of Innova Solutions was built with the fact that we acquired capabilities and we built capabilities. Now, these individual capabilities were focused from a technology standpoint.
Okay.
However, with the growing need of segmentation, specializations, we decided to go to market specifically for a business segment. So that's where we created a strategy of having verticals of healthcare, verticals of life sciences, verticals of banking, and we transformed the entire organization. So you can imagine a behemoth of a $3 billion, 50,000 people, strong capabilities, and how we brought them together to actually align to the go-to-market for our customers. What it did for us was we were able to kind of talk to our customers the language they wanted to know. We were able to bring the problem-solving skills to their problems, and we were able to relate very well. I was privileged to be part of this journey for Innova Solutions for the last 2 years and help do this and create an ecosystem that's working very well for our customers, plus very well for our teams.
Yeah, I want to highlight that for listeners. And this is happening across a lot of organizations, right? Across all different, types of industries. In that you probably created your company, right, over Innova around this strong technology, being really proficient at that. But then at some point, you're like, wait a minute, our growth is going to come from positioning what we do more aligned with specific industries to the customers' way of doing things versus, hey, we have a great technology, you need to do what we do, aka Apple. It's kind of like the Apple versus the Microsoft. Nothing wrong with Apple.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with Apple. Okay, Apple lovers out there, nothing wrong with Apple. But they are like, hey, we are Apple. You come to us, you get into our world, and we're going to take care of you. Whereas the flip side, this is just my opinion about it, Microsoft's always looking to adjust to the business. And it presents its own type of problems when you do something like that. But I'm curious from your standpoint, what was the greatest challenge? Because for you in that, because I can think about 100 different problems that could arise when you flip the business on its head like that.
Absolutely. No, there were many challenges that we faced through this. But the most important thing was there's always a defined way of working, right? And Innova has been a 25-year-old or any organization that has been in the business for long. We do it this way. The biggest challenge was how to change that mindset and say, hey, the way you do is great. But if you can add additional A, B, and C capabilities to your way of working, it's going to transform the results that you're going to get. That was the number one challenge. And how we solved for that challenge was we associated the organization with the vision that we were going towards. The moment people saw the goal, the vision, and the outcome 3 years down the line in their journey, people immediately got aligned. And that whole concept of this is the way I do it changed. People were open towards newer ideas. People were open towards changes. People were receptive with these ideas. And fast forward, we are one of the leading organizations today in the industry.
Loving it. Let's talk about that vision. So visions, this is my perspective here, and I want to get your take on it, is, I mean, that's the first step of leadership, right? If you don't have a vision, you're just managing people. You're not really leading them. You have a vision to lead them towards. Now, how long did you spend working on this vision? How long did it take? That's the first thing. I'm curious. What was your process for developing this?
So the vision was, I would say, the whole concept of moving the organization in this, it was at least 12 months journey. We deliberated various models. We talked to various industry experts before we actually decided on going onto this journey. It was not an easy choice. There were various alternate options. We were doing exceptionally well. We were growing multi-percentages in the previous years in the current model we had. So now we had to kind of look at it, pros and cons, to decide that. It took us at least good solid year evaluating all the options before we ended up deciding this and moving towards this journey.
So you saw you were using some external inspiration. You had what, the leadership or the executive committee or leadership group was working on it together?
Absolutely.
I mean, as much as you can share the nitty-gritty details, how often did you discuss it and meet? Did you have like a recurring, like, hey, every Monday for the next 12 months, we're going to talk about our vision, or how did you go about that?
So to be honest, the initial, that period of 6 months when we were doing this, we were literally talking on an everyday basis. Because this is how about we are transforming the organization, and we can't shortchange a decision like that. So we were literally talking on a regular basis with regular cadences, with regular governance put across towards it. And what we did is we also engaged our extended leadership teams so that they can provide their perspectives, because in the end, it's a joint thing. We often say this, and we believe in this, is a vision without an execution is hallucination. So we wanted the people. We had a vision, but for us to execute it properly, we engaged the extended leadership and made them a part of this vision. And that's when we created the execution model. And that's why we are successful after a couple of years.
All right. So you get together, you're working 12 months, you're getting people's input on this. Did you boil a vision down to like one sentence, a paragraph, or like a picture? I mean, what was it?
So I think the overall vision of the organization or the platform that we built, right, we were building over the last 25 years, that remains very clearly in the same mix, right? It's how it's basically how do we deliver outcomes for our customers, right? So that stayed there. However, the whole organization and how the organization's way of working would be, we actually laid out very clearly in various presentations, because when people see things, they are able to relate to it better rather than telling them something up in the air. So we did that, and we had those created the to-be state of our organizations, and we engaged our teams, showed them this view, etc.
What was the biggest challenge you faced once you developed the vision and you were going to start on the execution phase of this thing?
I would say the biggest challenge we faced was, there are, as you can imagine, right, there are various moving parts within the organization. Like in my entire organization of healthcare, insurance, life sciences, public sector, there are various moving parts. There are customers, there are customers' needs, customers' priorities, the expectations of the customers. When we started executing, we realized that change management is a number one thing. And that change management was driven effectively in our organization, whether it is with our customers, whether it is with our people, or whether it is with our partners. That change management turned out, had we not done it, it would have been a very different result for us. So the biggest challenge was that.
So the challenge was change management. For a listener, listeners maybe add a little color to that. Like when you say change management, it could be a lot of different things. What was it to you?
So change management is most important thing were two things within the change management. One was stakeholder management, which is our customers, etc. Right? To give them a perspective of how they're gonna get benefited from this. So imagine an example. They're working for a firm for 20 years, 23 years, and we're delivering great for our customers. Now we do this, and this is gonna enable or put our capabilities on steroids. Now, what's the benefit that our customers will drive out of it? Yeah. That stakeholder management is very important, because if you do not give them the value add that they are getting, for them, it's a noise in the system for themselves, right? So that was the first piece of it in the change management. And the second is, how do you, that was external stakeholder. And the second thing was, how do you manage the communication with your people on ground? What's the benefit of this with the people on ground? For example, if anybody got associated to a healthcare segment and they had experience in healthcare, now we created a community and a culture where they can enhance their skills and specialize into the domain which is of their choice. That communication was very, very important in order to get the on-ground teams to kind of get aligned to the vision. So from a change management, those two, I would say, would be the primary.
Some really good color for us on that. So employees, so people say, oh yeah, we're changing our company, got to notify our customers. And the risk is we don't want to lose customers. We're doing this to gain customers. And some customers don't like change. They're not going to like the fact that now I've got to deal with this person where I used to deal with this person. So managing that, but then you hit on something that I think every leader needs to think about when they're doing any kind of change is, hey, y'all, you've got to manage your employees through it. Even if it's a front end realignment, like you get, like technically, you were reorganizing how you went to market, but it affected the employees. And so I like what you said there, Vaibhav, about, hey, making sure that your employees and your teams understand the benefit to them. A lot of times they're just looking at, Vaibhav's coming through with his little change management, and it's just going to give us more work.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's do a change management project so we can give more work to our employees, right? Absolutely. That's not the intent, probably.
That's not. In fact, on that
processing it.
No, you're right. You're right. On that point, then, I still remember a day I was in one of our offices up in Minneapolis, and I had my leadership team for one segment in the room. And we were deliberating and questioning. And then we create a very simple diagram of how we want to change our ecosystem or drive growth in our ecosystem. And the level of details the team got involved in creating that vision made my change management easy, because they could see the end result, they could see the value it can, and they were literally nodding their head saying that, okay, this is what we were missing, we're going to do this. So the moment they understood the benefit of this, they immediately got aligned to it. And today that segment is doing one of the best for me.
Well done on that. So let's put a bow on this part of the interview, because I want to dig into your background a little bit more. But all in all, you decide, hey, we have to declare a new vision for our company. You went through all the change management and then got things going on the execution front. What's been the results?
The results has been amazing. The clients are seeing the benefit of it right away. If you go and look at the various social media for our organizations or the recognitions from the analysts, we are ranked as some of the leaders in some of these areas. Like if you go to healthcare, for example, and I'm just taking one example, it's across company-wide. But let's say take an example. We are recognized by all the analysts as one of the primary players in the ecosystem. So that's another example. We are winning. Our customers are having more trust on us, and we are winning multi-million-dollar engagements with our customers because of that trust enhancing further. So the result has been great, and our people are getting more opportunities to grow and learn because of these newer opportunities. So now this plethora of new opportunities where everybody is talking about recession, we're talking about doing some solid transformational programs for our customers, and in the process, giving the opportunities to our people.
So you're taking your playbook on how you guys changed, and you're sharing it with your customers and helping them through that. Is that what I heard?
Yes.
Nice. You know what?
I'll,
There's a deep integrity in that. You're like, hey, we did this.
yes.
And
See,
hey, we did it. This is how we did it. It worked for us. And we can help you.
absolutely. See, imagine we had almost in that period, and not the exact number, but almost 10 plus acquisitions in the last few years. So now we know merger and acquisition at the back of our hands. And we are taking this to our customers and saying, guys, you just acquired this. So there's a health plan. We just acquired another health plan and is one of our customers. And we are able to tell them, guys, this is the problem you're going to face because I faced it myself. Let me help you solve this.
Yeah. Yeah. I really like that. And just planting that seed with the listeners too. I mean, a lot of companies that, hey, we're going to consult with you on X, Y, and Z. We're going to be helpful to you. But when you work with a company who's actually gone through it themselves, it's such a deeper experience. We do the same thing with our company, right? We have a podcast, we have a very profitable podcast, and we work with companies to design that for them, increase their sales. But a lot of it's the kind of stuff that we're doing ourselves. There are a lot of companies in the podcast world that are just sort of talking about that or they're advertising it. But, it's shocking to me the number of companies that are talking about helping people with podcasts, but they don't have a podcast themselves.
Yeah.
It's like, where is this? And sometimes it can still work out, but it's just imagine, I really like that approach of, hey, we figured this out and now we're helping others with it. Now, I could keep, you and I could keep riffing on that, but I wanted to get into your background kind of behind the executive a little bit. What was your first job and how does it influence your leadership today, Vaibav?
So it's a very interesting story. I did my engineering and I did my engineering in electronics. So, and this was obviously 20 plus years ago. At that time, computer science was shiny engineering discipline and only specific students were doing it, right? So I'm like, okay, fine. Then I went through my campus interview. I got selected in my first company through campus interview. And they let electronics engineering guys join there. It's an IT services big behemoth. I'm very thankful to that organization for giving me my first opportunity. But then I realized after I got the offer and my exams were getting over that I don't know how to turn on a computer. And my job was a software engineer.
We skipped that step in school.
Yeah,
Turning
exactly.
it on.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, what do I do now? But then we went to the trainings. I did some extra trainings on my side. I put some effort and I was able to kind of get together and then learn in the process on the job as well and do really well for the company. But there was a learning in that, Ben, that I took for my entire career. Saying that however tough your obstacle is, if you make a start, you're going to cross that obstacle. And that's exactly what happened. And that built my two principles in my career. One, compound effect. And the second is never say no, never say die. Because if I would have said that at the start, I would have not been successful. I would have probably been doing something in the electronics world. I would not have been sitting here 25 years later. And the second thing is, if there is an obstacle, start and you're going to figure it out.
Wow. Yeah. Great advice. And yeah, you could have gotten so frustrated. And starting is frustrating.
Yes.
Not being able to turn the computer on, that is frustrating. These newfangled devices, you can't even turn them on. Yeah, you could have ended there like, I'm going back to my boards of whatever, my electric, my circuit boards. And you're like, no, I'm going to stick with this. And it's such a simple example, but it's powerful in terms of an inspirational side. We're like, keep going. And there's usually something big on the other side of it. Even it's just simply the learning. Now, we were talking about before we got on here, the importance of retaining key people on your team. And, our group, we do a lot around reducing the catastrophic cost of turnover. Is the catastrophic cost of turnover, is this something that you think organizations and leaders should be keeping an eye on?
Absolutely. See, I believe we are an outcome of our environment. And our environment is driven by the teams that we have. We are as good as our teams. So my my thinking is today, organizations have to keep more of an eye on that, is because when an employee has been with you for some time, they learn your ways of working. They've been part of your vision. They've been part of your journey.
Mm-hmm.
If you do not give them the right opportunities, they will go anywhere. The loss is yours. And there is obviously a direct cost to it, but there is a lot of indirect cost in terms of your customers, your knowledge, everything. So why not focus on make sure we create an environment where we train them so very well, but we treat them so very well they don't leave us. So to me, I think we are as good as our teams. And if we can't take care of our team, we will never be successful. And that's one thing I followed as a principle in my career. And people have been with me, I've been privileged. They've chosen to be working with me for last many 10 plus years. And I have the confidence. I have a problem. I know this guy has done it for like 10 times for me. I don't have to worry about it. I just throw the problem at them and they solve it.
Yeah, so good. When you make it a priority as a leader, good things usually happen. Now, on the flip side, without including names, what's your most colorful story of when someone quit or was fired?
It's actually related. These are all learnings. I think God does things for a reason, so that you do your learnings in the process. So there was this one individual. He was 2 levels above, and it was very early in my career, initial years of my experience. And then, so this guy was making all the decisions on its own. And I think he had probably a mindset that he will, by creating dependency, he'll be doing justice to himself and the company. So he was of that mindset. Fine. The company didn't see that coming. He was doing all the things, all the decision making. And then suddenly, probably good for him, he got an opportunity and moved out. But now the company was in a spot of bother. He was doing all the decision making. His teams lacked the vision. His teams lacked to know where they are going. And suddenly they were like a deer in a headlight. And the leadership were depending on him to take all these decisions, and suddenly there is nobody there. Fine, you figure out these are challenges, we figure out nobody is indispensable. But that made me learn on that day, saying that what if I wake up every day and I create a plan to displace myself? And what if I create a culture in my leadership that when they wake up every day, they create a plan to displace themselves? The moment we started doing that, sorry, just to finish it up, the moment we started doing that, we made decision making as a part of the team. We made sure the vision is known. The team is aware of what's happening all across in their areas. And then suddenly these dependencies started going away. And we were a more healthier organization as opposed to the previous model.
That, a lot of lessons in there. Number one, leaders, your legacy is what Vaibav, I just want to point out that's legacy from what Vaibhav's talking about. It's you leave the organization. You might be thinking, well, if I leave the organization, I don't really care what happens after that. But y'all, that's your legacy.
Yes.
And so by building up the team and creating an environment that helps them grow, when you do leave, they're there. Your legacy is not, I mean, only a sliver is from funding a building at a university, your name on it.
Yes.
Right. The real legacy is through other people. And
Absolutely.
So when you look at that perspective, it really makes your job more meaningful. It makes delegation and development much more meaningful. And the flip side is if you're a top level leader like Vaibav as president, and you've got someone in your team who is not delegating and not developing the other people, you've got a bigger risk.
Absolutely.
Got a big risk, because I loved your example, because you're like, yeah, I saw it firsthand. Someone didn't develop their people, didn't delegate, kept all the decision making to themselves, and they left, and the organization had such a steep learning curve. Now, it sounds like you climbed the learning curve as an organization, but it was probably very costly and painful to do it.
And it's dependent on people heroics then at that point.
Yeah, to lose people. So a great example there. So starting to wind this up here, when's the time you had an unexpected twist or failure in your career, and how did it lead to your success or growth on down the road?
So I would say, and this is my message to every budding executives, managers who want to really get into the leadership positions, never say no to opportunity that knocks on your door. So I was sales P&L, very focused in my initial years of my career. And then there was this, in my previous organization, there was this delivery center we had in the US, which was negative operating margins. And we were losing money in that. I was a sales guy. I loved being in front of the customers, loved problem solving. And then my leadership came to me and said, Vaibhav, can you help solve this? So when that twist came into my journey of doing delivery management along with my sales hat, there were many people who said, don't do it. Why? You'll get typecasted as delivery. You'll get typecasted as sales. You'll not have specialization. And I said, in the end, what matters is the outcome that the company expects out of me. Whether it is delivery or sales, I don't care. So I picked up that opportunity. I converted the negative operating margin center to a positive operating margin center in 3 quarters. It was not complex, just basics, 3 quarters. What it gave me was, it gave me a learning of running an end-to-end organization. And that experience I cannot gain through books or through sitting on the sides. And that gave me a learning that life throws twists at you. Life gives you opportunities which you don't want to take. Don't say no. Take the opportunity, solve for it. In the end, you're learning something from it.
Yeah, it sounds like you could have just stayed in your sales channel, your sales role, continue to do well, and just been that salesperson. And this is a theme, we see in these interviews where people have success in their job and their role, and they take a chance. And you took a chance to move outside of that. It might not have gone that well, but even that, and I suspect if it didn't go as well as it did, it still might have been a critical learning for your career.
Absolutely.
As a president, right? You're in charge of
everything,
multiple functions.
Absolutely.
And it can be career limiting if you're just the salesperson. Now, the flip side is, I think it's okay if you said, look, I love sales. I want to be sales. I want to be maybe a chief revenue officer or just like vice president of sales. Did you know at that age in your career, did you have your sights set on the C-suite already, or you just had a hunger for learning something new?
No, I didn't had any defined plan per se. I knew where I'm good at it. But the most important thing was I wanted to learn in the process. I wanted to learn everything that comes my way. Because learning never goes waste. Learning never goes waste.
All right, we got to stop there. Learning never goes to waste. Consider in your career, it goes back to the risk of declaring a bigger vision for your company and what could be. It was a risk, but the learning your organization has gone through obviously worked. But I love the fact that the learning never goes to waste, because then you take that learning, you've packaged it, and now you're helping your customers with it.
Absolutely.
So, well done, my friend. Thanks for coming on, Vaibav.
You're very welcome. It was a pleasure. Good to meet you and good to be part of this journey.